Hello everyone. It's Paula from On a String. Today's my workshop on doing some demonstration around shrinkets and using those with metallic components. So it'll be a little bit of a mix up today because I'll be swapping from one desk to another desk, and you get to see all the behind the scenes on how the shrinkets and metallic actually work together. So I'm really looking forward to demonstrating some of the things that I've done in the past. I've got a couple of samples that I'll go through today, and you'll get to see how the shrinkets themselves are actually made, along with how I use metallic components to enhance those into earrings, pendants, whatever else it might be. So as I said, today will be a little bit of a messy workshop. You'll get to see me swap between one desk and another, and I'll do a bit of a demonstration and show how my desk works, you know, my shrinkets desk and what I've actually got here as well. So yeah, it's an exciting one to actually see how everything works today. So I'm looking forward to actually going through and showing people what actually happens with the shrinkets and metallics. So to that end, I'm going to show a couple of little things that I've made with shrink plastic in the past in terms of earrings and things. So there'll be a bit of desk flipping and camera flipping, so you'll get to see that. So just bear with me while I actually do that right now. So I'm just going to flip the camera. This is actually my shrinkets desk here, so we'll get to see me do some demonstration and work in this area shortly. But what I thought I'd show you is how I've actually utilised the shrink plastic and metallic on different things in the past. So if you're new to my Facebook Lives, you'll know that I will demonstrate and show a few things. By all means, ask questions, add comments. I'll do my best to update you on those as well. So this was actually the feature image on the event piece that you would have seen. So this is a piece of shrink plastic, and you can hear that sort of plastic sound there. It's had some metallic stamens added with some little beads and a hook, etc. And that's one that I've actually stenciled with metallic component colours. So I'll show you how I'll actually do that as well. So that's one design. Another one I have is what I call my organic dotty earrings. So this is an organic hand painted piece of shrinked plastic, and this has got, oh, now someone's telling me it's off centre. So can you see that now, Jamie? Hopefully can't see. Okay. Can't see anything at all. That's tricky. Hang on, what about now? Let me know. Yep, okay, perfect, great. This is just a matter of where I'm going to have my hands and camera, etc. today. So as I said, this is one of my organic dotty pieces. So this one's all hand painted. It's got a bit of a raised edge to it, that sort of feel. You can see that. That's done with a polymer clay puffy paint. And then, of course, it's got that metallic centre as well. So that's another design. And then another one I wanted to show you is similar sort of concept, but this one is stenciled with puffy paint as well. So you can see that sort of stencil edge there, and then there's sort of two metallic stamens that have been attached to that one as well. So that's some of the techniques that I've used with metallic and shrinkit. And then one little final one is this little bead embroidery sort of designed ring that I've done as well. So that's got a lovely piece of shrinkit in the centre, and then a little metallic stamen, and that's just on a piece of leather, and that's just got a stitched band on it as well. So that's just some of the little things that I've used shrinkits and beads and metallic with. And I'm going to, as I said, be pretty messy today and show you different things that I do here in my little office, bead studio. So one of the ones we're going to have a look at today, and I'll talk about some of the tools and things that I use as well. This is a silicone mat. Super important to have when you're actually doing shrink work, you know, particularly on a wooden surface, because the heat of the gun, and we'll go through and show you the heat gun shortly, that's what actually protects your surface. So I always have a silicone mat. So this is the Sizzix brand one. I also have like a silicone lid cover, you know, that you use for cooking. I've got one of those here as well. So I've got a couple of different options that I use to actually heat my work in when I'm actually melting it. So I'm actually just going to show you now this particular little piece. So this is one that I will bead and demonstrate that later. You can see there I've got a hole drilled in the center of it, and this is a piece of glittery gold shrink plastic that I have stenciled and then shrunk. So I'm actually going to demonstrate that one now so you get to see how that works. And I've got this is how big it starts, the shrink plastic, and this is what it ends up looking like. So you can see it shrinks by about 40% in size. So it's a really big reduction when you're actually working with shrink. And when you're actually doing your painted designs, etc. on there, they can look, they will shrink down and become more intensified. So this is a very intensified stencil pattern that's come to here, and you'll see what I mean when I actually do that. So I'm going to put my piece of shrink on the desk, and please let me know if it goes off center or you can't see things. And this is one of my little flower sort of stencils. Just going to pop that over the top of my shrink plastic, and I've got my little stamps here. So I've got a copper, a silver and a black colour of here, and I'm actually just going to stencil some of this design on the top of the shrink plastic. And I use these called their finger daubers to actually do that sort of ink work. So I just sort of dab the dauber on top of there and just going to stencil that over the top of my shrink plastic. And I'm doing just a bit of a mix of black, silver and copper over the top, and I'm not doing it too heavy. I only just want to have a sort of a light colouring because of the intensification that comes once you've actually shrunk it. I'll now add a little bit of copper onto there as well, so just pop a few sort of dabs of that coppery colour. And when you look at it sort of here, I'm holding that stencil really still so that the pattern doesn't distort. And when you look here, it doesn't look as if it's really colouring that shrink plastic at all, but once you shrink it, you'll see how much that intensifies that colour. And I'm actually just doing a little bit of an over stamp over some of where the black is as well, so that that blends. And now I'm just going to pop some silver on there as well. So the silver, I'm just finishing that over here too. And I've already done one piece of this, but the beauty of it is that it is organic. It's not going to be exactly the same. I may not have held the stencil in exactly the same spot that I did previously. But you can see here, I'm just sort of dabbing that little bit of silver, gold, coppery and black over the top. And when I lift that stencil off, you can see that pattern that's actually formed there very faintly on this piece. So let me know that you can actually see that. Give me a thumbs up, Jamie, if that's all good. So you can actually see that stencil pattern that has formed over the top of the shrink plastic. Now the shrink plastic, this particular one I'm using, this is a glitter. So this is glittery on one side and it is plain on the other side, but I really like to show that glittery side. Now I'm actually going to shrink this now, so it will be a little bit noisy for a second when my heat gun goes on, so bear with me while I do that. Now my heat gun is a craft heat gun, and I'll just utilise my little silicone holder to hold my piece in place while I'm shrinking it, and watch the transformation of this going from big to small. So I just keep moving the heat gun around and around on top of the piece. I'm heating that plastic up, and you'll start to see, I don't hold it still in any one spot. I'm just sort of moving it over and over the shrink plastic, and all of a sudden this starts to move, and you can see that now. It's folding on top of itself. It's starting to move and shrink, and I'll hold the gun over the parts that haven't shrunk yet so that they move and flatten. Like that. A little bit of a final burst. And there you go. There is my first flower actually shrunk. So you can see now how that now matches the previous one that I actually did. I'll just sort of stamp that now with the silicone tool, and that will flatten that perfectly for me as well. So that is now shaped, hardened, You can hear that plastic tab on there. With the shrink plastic, you can actually drill a hole in before or after you do your work. I sometimes will do it before, sometimes after. Depends on what I'm making. This one I'm actually going to drill the hole afterwards. So I just get my little Dremel and hold it on the centre and just drill a hole. That's gone all the way through. Sometimes the drill bit can have a bit of plastic that's caught on it, and all I do then is just heat it and get it off with the heat gun. So come on, off you come. There we go. So I've just drilled a hole in the centre there as well. So there's one pair ready for me to actually do some bead work too. So you can see here, that's the metallic. Now, the other thing you can actually do with the shrink plastic once it's hardened is I can get something like, you know, one of these Posca pens. So my Posca pens are paint art pens, and I could do a little bit more gold work on there or silver. And I'll show you those on the second piece I'm going to demonstrate, but I'll just leave those for the minute. So there's two flowers that have actually been created with the stenciling and the shrink plastic. So that's one design. Okay, the other one that I'm going to show you is just how to do a little bit of freeform work on a teardrop shape. And again, this will be something that will add a metallic component too. So what I've got is some little teardrops in the gold again. So you can see how much that actually shrinks down to. So it goes quite small. And what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of Posca pen drawing. So this is a bit of freeform drawing. Now the Posca pens, you've got to shake them. You can hear that noise when they're actually ready and loaded. And I can't really remember what I did on the other one, but I did a couple of swirls like that in the pink. And then I did a couple of sort of blue dots in there as well. And the Posca pen is a paint pen, so that's just sort of drying now as I'm working on it. So I'm being really careful not to smudge that. I did a couple of little blue lines as well. So a couple of blue lines. This is a finer pen than the pink one, so you can see the difference in how that actually draws onto the piece. And then I did a couple of little tiny green pieces as well. So a couple of little green lines. That one doesn't show up as much, but again, once it shrinks, you'll start to see that. So that's just a little bit of freeform work with the Posca pen. Again, I'm going to heat this, so bear with me while I do that. I'll just hold that with the tip of my silicone tool, move the gun around and around and around as that starts to shrink. Come on, there it goes. And there you go, it's nice and flat. I'll just stamp that so that it stays flat. And now I have two little components to actually utilise in earrings. So there's a couple of really simple ways to decorate the shrink plastic. I'll need to drill holes in those as well. And another one, I've got some lovely little sort of leaf shapes here as well, which this is a glittery shrink. So when this one shrinks, it's a nice creamy sort of glitter. And again, I could use some Posca pens on here. Just do a little bit of drawing. So a nice coppery gold sort of dots down the centre there. I'll do the second one while I'm here. The Posca pens and the shrink plastic work really, really well together. You can do sort of different shading with pencils and other things too, which is a whole separate class that I teach in shrink plastic. But you can see here I'm just doing a little bit of drawing with the silver and the copper. And then I will shrink these little leaves as well because there's something else we could utilise them with. So again, as I said, I could punch a hole in these beforehand, and I'll show you how I punch a hole, or you can drill them. So I've got a long hole punch here. So it's got a long jaw so that you can go into the middle of a piece of beadwork, piece of shrink plastic, or I can just use it right on that tip of that leaf there. You can see there it's just punched a hole in there, just like that. And what that does is you can actually then use a little spike to hold it in place, like off one of these little molds. So one of the little spikes that are here that I use with the shrink it molds to get some of the shape. I can just hold it on there, and it means that I don't need my silicone tool to actually hold it in place. And if I shrink that, what happens is it gets hot, so you've got to be careful that they don't touch it. You can see here the hole actually stays exactly where where I made it with that punch, and then I can just take that off and the hole's in place and just flatten it. So that's another way to actually have a hole done beforehand on those little leaves. Okay, so I'm actually going to move desks now, so that means I have to move cameras and all sorts of things, so bear with me. You'll get to see the floor as I actually do this. And I'm going to swing that around over to my workstation here. So let me know that everything can be seen while I just adjust the camera. It's all the tricky bits of doing this Facebook Live stuff. So I'm just going to swing that around that way. Okay, that's better. How's that, Jamie? Am I on track again now? Good having somebody actually being able to tell me whether you can see my hands now, I hope. Good, excellent. All right, so my session today was about actually doing Facebook Lives and showing you metallic and bead. And I'm just going to turn that around, sorry, one more time because all the comments are upside down and I can't read it. Please let me know. Professional, I tell you. No, sorry, it's going back that way. Okay, so there's my beading board there that I'm actually going to demonstrate and show you a couple of things. So I've got the two little stenciled flowers that I made before. You can see those. Move across to the centre again. Here, how's that? Oh, g'day Lorraine, nice to see you here too. I'm having a couple of camera issues today because I moved across from one desk to another, so hopefully it's started to sort itself out. Okay, now I'm all good, excellent. All right, so I've got my two little flower gold pieces here with the stenciled paint that I did on them, and I'm actually going to do some metallic work on those. So when I say metallic work, for me, one of the things that I have in my bead room is this box, or one box, I've got several boxes, let's not lie, of metallic stamens and flowers and all sorts of things. So these are the sorts of stamens that I tend to use in beadwork. They're really little light metal weight ones, and you can sort of press them and flatten them out if you don't want them to be too raised, or you can move the little arms either way. And because I've got that sort of coppery and silver and gold colours on there, I could potentially do a little rose gold one in the middle. Might ask for a poll. What about a colour? So there's a rose gold option. There's a yellow gold option. I think I like the rose gold one. Or I've got a couple of these other sort of shapes in these as well. This is a bigger style stamen. Rose, okay. Where do I get those stamens from? Oh, look, I buy a lot of stuff from AliExpress, believe it or not. So I do get a few things from there. And these particular stamens have come from there. So there, I've got that larger silver one, which really stands out, or the rose. But Jamie's telling me the rose. Yep, okay, well, let's go with that one. So what I like to do then is think about what are the beads that actually will go really well on this particular piece. So I've just zoomed that in, so hopefully that's a bit better. And because I've gone with rose gold, I'd like to have an accent bead then of rose gold, silver and gold potentially. So I've just sort of grabbed out some of my standard beads that I utilise all the time. And then because I've got silver and gold and copper on here, I'm going to add some of those colours into that bead mix as well for that metallic look. And I'm just going to grab out, again, sorry I'm moving around a fair bit today because I want to grab lots of different beads to show you different things. Okay, so I've got the rose gold as the base, so I've got a couple out here, so I can potentially put one rose gold in there. These sort of metallic earrings need about 3 to 4 beads in it. That doesn't need a great deal, but 3 to 4 is enough to give it that little mix. I've got some nice, oh, that's coppery brown, that's not going to work. There's some little rose gold metallic beads there as well. And I've got another gold one, and I've got some little 3s there. And I think maybe it might need a tiny touch of black in it as well, given that it's got that little faint piece of black. And because I want to add a different dimension and shape, I'll actually use a black crystal in there too. Okay, so first thing I do is find a needle. And now I need to find some thread somewhere here on this desk, which, as I said, is an absolute mess at the moment. But that's the behind the scenes stuff. So I will use fire line to actually bead this. So I've got black fire line and I've got crystal. I'll probably use crystal, I think, in this circumstance, because I don't really want to see too much thread on this. So I always pretty much start with about, you know, 1.5 meters or so of thread. I always tell people 1.5 meters. You actually don't need that much for this piece. You only need a small amount, but it won't go to waste. I'm just going to thread my needle here as well. And thanks for joining, Jill. It's your birthday today. It's my mum's birthday today too. So you're born on a great day. Thank you for taking some time out of your birthday to join me today. Okay, now I'm going to just pop out a couple of beads. So I've got a couple of rose gold, that coppery sort of colour. I've got a gold bead. Put a couple of them in there. They're a 4mm fire polish. And I've got a couple of 3mm black crystals as well. So just pop a couple of those in there too. Maybe just one of these rose gold ones. And that'll be a really nice little mix in the centre of this beaded flower. So the way that I like to start these is I need a bead that sits at the back that actually locks in and holds my beadwork in place. And I generally will use about a size 11 bead to do that. So I'll just grab out one size 11 bead to hold that in place. And remember, I haven't drilled a top hole yet for this earring, but I will drill one shortly. So I'll just push my needle all the way through the hole that I made in the centre there. Pick up a size 11 bead over here and then come back through that hole. Grab my scissors at the same time so that that bead at the back is locking in place my beadwork that I'm going to do. So the next, you can actually, you know, tie a little knot there if you wanted to with the thread, just to secure that even further. But we're going to go in and out of that hole a few times, so it will become really secure. So I've now got my little locking bead attached at the back. I now add on my little stamen here onto that stack. There, like that. Move that out of the way. And now what I like to do is pick up, you know, one size 11 bead, then a feature bead, like that. And then, no, I think that probably needs a rose metallic. Let me just find where they are. Rose 15. Sorry, I've just got to grab those out. This is beading on the go. Just, you know, talk amongst yourselves while I find the right bead. Where is it? I've had these out today, that's why I can't grab them so easily. Well, it might not be rose at this stage, it might be gold. Okay, because I can't see where they are. All right, so I've got some little gold size 15 beads there. So I'm just picking up one. And then I'm just going to go back through. I'm skipping over the 15, go back through the feature bead and that size 11 and the stamen, and then all the way back through that hole at the very start and pull that taut. You can see there now I've added one bead. Now remember, I've got that little size 11 at the back, which is my anchor bead. I'm just going to push my needle through that again so that it's nice and secure, and then bring the needle back through the front to the front of the work, through that hole. And I've just got to sort of dig around and find where that hole is. There it is. And I want to come back up through the center there and then add another bead. So again, I'm going to pick up a size 11, a feature bead, and a size 15 bead. So I've got all three of those on my needle. Take them back down to the work. My little tail thread is still in the way there, but I will remove that shortly. Again, I'm going to skip over the 15, go through the feature bead and the size 11, back through to the back where my little locking bead is. Okay. Come back here, go through that locking bead, and then just go back through that center again. Now, it starts to get a little bit tight with everything that's going in and out of that drilled hole there. So as I said, generally 3 to 4 beads is what I would add onto something like this. So again, I picked up the third style of feature bead, and this one is the 4mm fire polish. So I've got an 11, the feature bead, and a 15 on there. So that's the third bead now that I've added. So you can see now I've picked up the black from the black stencil. The copper is picked up here as well, and now a little bit of gold. And those metallic colours with that little accent of black all work really well together. Again, I'll skip over the 15, go through the feature bead and through the size 11, and right back through to the centre hole that I've got there. Flip it over, go through that locking bead that's at the back. And again, that's, you know, it's starting to fill up with thread, but the needle just glides through there like that. And then bring that back through to the front. And I've probably got enough room to maybe add one more bead, I think, onto the front of that. So there's my needle coming through to the front. And this time I think I'll add the larger rose gold one. So again, I'll pick up in a size 11, a feature bead, and then a 15 bead like that. Take that all the way back down to the work, and then go all the way through to the back and finish off that thread. So you can see now we've got a real metallic tones going on here with this piece of beadwork, and just need to gently push that needle through the hole. It's there. It's not cooperating just yet, but it will. Okay, I'll just try not to shove it all in at once. I'm just trying to get into that there. The hole there. There it goes through. And I'll pull that nice and tight, and see now I've got that nice little bunch of metallic beads all on the top of that piece. So my little locking bead at the back here, I can just run the thread through and loop it by just making a knot by going through a couple of times like that. And then get my little scissors, finish that off, cut off that tail that's there as well. You can see now there's one finished piece. So from that little bit of stenciling and paint work that I did through to attaching the beads, I've got to drill a hole in that now to be able to hang an earring wire from. So I'll probably drill a hole in the top there and then just put a hook on, and that is one finished earring, and then I'll need to complete the second one today. So quick, Jamie. Yep, that's me. I'm speedy. I've always been known as a speedy beater, but that's how that design has come together. So I'll finish the other one, and then Jamie Gething will probably end up getting these earrings this afternoon when I see her. So there you go. That's one way of actually creating them. So the second one I wanted to show you was using that sort of little teardrop shape with a metallic component. So I've got this shape here that I've you saw me decorate before. And what I'm going to do is drill a hole in the top of the teardrop, top or bottom of the teardrop, so that I can join it onto this metallic component. And then I'll put a little bit of bead fringing on there as well. So again, I'm going to have to drill a hole So I get my handy piece of wood here that has lots of drill holes in it, and I'll get my drill, and I'm just going to melt off that plastic. See all the plastic that's on the end of the drill bit there? I'm just going to melt that off with the heat gun. Look at that, brand new. I've just cleaned it by taking that little bit of plastic off. So there's another tip for you. Now I'm just going to drill a hole in here. So I have this little piece of wood that I keep in my bead room. It's got a nice little ledge here, so if I want to push something up against the ledge, I can, or I can just hold it on the top. But it sort of means that I don't get too many drill holes then in my desk. I've got a couple, but not too many. And I'm just going to hold that against that ledge and drill a hole just there. And I'll get the second one. Just drill a hole. So now I've got a hole that's in the shrink there. You can see that nice little hole there. And because I cleaned out my drill bit, I've got a little bit there. I could just get rid of that, but that's a nice flat hole just there on that one. Okay, so, and absolutely, Jackie, these colours look great for Christmas. I did a whole stack of Christmas shrink-it earrings last year, including this one that you can see here. I made this little Christmas decoration for my grandson Mason. So that's just a large piece of shrink plastic. I decorated his name, etc. on there and put a little beaded decoration. So great idea to use trinkets for Christmas decoration stuff as well. What size drill bit do I use? It's a smaller drill bit, Anita. It's not the one that comes with it. I think it's well, look, I don't know the exact size, but the one that comes with it is bigger than this one. And then my husband had to buy me this chuck thing to go on the drill so that I could put a smaller one in it. That's about my technical ability when it comes to the drill, but it is the smaller one that comes with the standard Dremel. And this is a Dremel 7750, and it's a cordless rechargeable one. Okay, so now I've got my little hole here in my piece. I've got a lovely metallic piece here that will just match really nicely with this. And because I did that little bit of pink and blue design on here, I want to bring some of that in with some beads. But I'm going to need a jump ring first to join those two pieces together. So I need my gold jump rings, and I need some pliers. So I have lots of jump rings in these little containers, and for this size, probably this one is about right for this, because I want to add some beads onto here as well. When you're using jump rings, you tend to use 2 pairs of pliers. So I have these great Wubbers brand ones with the green, and then this purple pair have got a nice little cutout in them on that tip, which is really handy for holding things onto as well. So I've got my metallic piece here. I'm just going to pop that jump ring through there and then pop my little shrink-it piece onto that jump ring, get my 2 pairs of pliers like that. Yep, joined it together, and just going to shut that jump ring by moving them just past one another like that until they click into place, and get those lined up in a nice circle. And so there I've just joined those 2 pieces together like that. Okay, so the next thing I'll do will be to do a little bit of bead fringing here, bringing in that pink and blue colour. So I'm just going to grab out a couple of pink beads. I know I've got some. So I've got this sort of really, I was going to say violent, but it's not violent. It's a violet-y sort of pink colour, and that's a little 4mm fire polish there. And I've also got some pink crystal, and I think it's the crystal actually that's going to go with this. So these are a 3mm crystal. Again, I've got my needle and thread that I had previously, and I want to actually put that little bit of bead fringing on the Shrinket, not on the metal. You could do it on the metal as well, but I'm going to do it on the Shrinket. So again, I'm just going to push my needle through the hole where the jump ring is, like that. And I do the same technique. I need a locking bead. So I'll grab a size 11 bead and lock the back of that piece. That little, so you can see there's the locking bead on the back. Bring that through to the front. Again, I can just sort of, tie a little knot here with my thread to stop it pulling through. Not necessary, but, if you feel like you need to, you can. And I use this sort of technique of fringing beads on the top of clay, on the top of shrink plastic, all sorts of things. So it's a really good technique. Glass. Again, I'm going to pick up a size 11 bead, a feature bead, which in this case is the 3mm crystal, and then a size 15 again. And skip over the size 15, go back through the feature bead and the size 11. And so what I'm doing now is I'll be theoretically covering up that hole that I just drilled. So you actually won't see that hole in the shrink plastic. And I'll just keep repeating that technique. So again, I pick up a size 11 and this little bit of tiny bead fringe. I love this technique because what I think is that it actually gives another dimension to your bead work. It becomes three-dimensional with this little bit of bead fringe on the top of that. And look at that. It's just really, really simple, but it adds something to this piece. So again, I'm going to go through my locking bead at the back here, come through to the front, pick up a size 11 bead, a feature bead, a size 15 bead, and go all the way back through, skipping over the 15, going through the feature and the size 11. There we go. I've got 3 little crystals added. I'll probably add a couple more. I probably should put a blue maybe in, given that I've got a bit of blue in the design. So I do have some, I do have some blue beads out. I can grab a couple of blue ones. Again, just repeating that technique all the way through. So I've got, that colour will do. This is a nice sort of peacocky colour. I'm going to use these in the next one with some Shrinkets that I prepared earlier. So here is the same technique again, a feature, a size 11 and a 15. And there you go, that little extra bit of bluey green colour really adds to that as well. Skip over the 15, go through the feature and the 11 and go back. How's that? Am I back on screen again, Lorraine? So it's been one of those tricky days. My camera is upside down at the moment, so I'm trying to read upside down, and I'm standing so that I try and stay in the right spot. So hopefully it stays there. But you can see there, I've just added that little bit of blue onto the top of that one. I'll do my little locking bead at the back again. And remember, I put the jump ring in at the start, so that's nice and secure now because that's got some extra thread going through that hole as well. And come on, all the way through. There we go. So I will only do 2 beads on 2 of the blue, so it's that odd number, which I think is aesthetically nice. So again, I've picked up the size 11, the feature crystal, and then a 15, and then I'm going back through, so repeating that same pattern all the way through to the back like that. So look at that. That's a really sweet, easy metallic and earring design. So with this particular component, I can just pop my ear wire in at the top. I'll finish off this thread here, again, by just going through to the back and going through that locking bead a couple of times, and then just sort of looping through and making a knot in that, like that. Cutting off my thread. These are my new Fireline scissors that I got. They're a Shimano brand one. Oh my goodness, they're amazing. So that was my dog barking then. And then I did have an earring hook up here somewhere. somewhere in my jar of things. You know, I can do any sort of, that's too big, an earring hook on there. I'll grab one out of my earring hook box. So again, I've got a great big box of different types of earring hooks, and this one just needs a little gold one. And if I pop that through from back through to front like that, that's the wrong way, so I'll just go front through to back. Let me just undo that again. See, this is what happens when it's Facebook Live. You get to see all of it. The mess, the chaos, the back to front. Okay, and there we go. That's right now. There we go. There's one finished earring. So I started with that really plain piece of shrink plastic. I don't know where they went, somewhere over here. So I started with this. You can see there, that's the shrink plastic. I shrunk it, I drew on it, shrunk it to get it to that shape, drilled a hole in it, then added some beads and a metallic piece to create a really simple earring design. And as Jackie said, Jackie, great idea for Christmas gifts, really easy piece of jewellery to make. So there's my two that I've made here today. You've been able to see me screen print on this one and do the metallic stamen, and then free draw on this one and do the little crystals on there as well. So oh, look, I do try and do it with no fuss, Lorraine. You know, it is what it is when I'm beading, so you get what you get. Okay, now the other piece I wanted to show you today, and I haven't made this before, so this is definitely a, it's almost like a design on the fly, even though I didn't market it as that today. So I've got these lovely sort of metallic, I suppose you'd call them a barrette, I don't know, component. And I had a whole lot in my shrink plastic drawer. I've got lots of beads that I've experimented with over the time that I've been doing it. So here's a whole set of blue ones. These ones have been created in the mould. So that's a screen printed one, and then that's gone into the mould to give it that shape. There's another sort of screen printed and chalk one. This is a painted flower one. This one is alcohol ink, I think. This one's a screen print as well. But what I thought was that these are going to look really cool on top of this metallic piece like this. You know, sort of just do a bit of a build up of those beads on top of one another like that, and add a few different beads on there. And so what I've grabbed out is, you know, some little rose gold ones here, different rose gold. I've got some little rose gold flowers as well that could go in the centres, some blue crystals too. So I'm just going to play around with beading these things all together on this particular metallic barrette. So again, I've still got my same needle and thread that I'm going to be using, and you saw me just place those shrinked beads onto the piece with no real design process in mind. I just sort of laid them out. So because this is such a lightweight piece with lots of lovely big areas to attach a thread, I'm just going to bring my needle and thread through and just attach that onto this metallic piece, just by doing a couple of knots in the back of attaching it. The other thing that works really well with this too, and it's not so much that I'm going to show this today, but you know, you can actually put little bits of leather flowers. You know, you can use the Sizzix that I use to cut the shrink plastic. You can use that to cut leather flowers as well, or leather pieces, and add that in. So that gives another dimension to it as well. So I've just attached my little piece of thread there. So I'm just going to go from the back through to the front, and think about my placement. Now I'm going to place the biggest bead first, because then it's easy to build around the biggest bead. And then I've got some other sort of featurey beads that I'll put on this. So again, I'm just going to bring my needle through the shrink plastic like that. I'm going to get some rose gold beads out for this one. And I've grabbed a size 8, partly because that hole is quite large on that piece of shrink. Pop a size 8 bead on there. Grab a couple of these sort of little rose goldy coloured beads here. I do need to find where on earth my rose gold size 15 beads went because I need them for this. I can't fudge that anymore. I did have them out, so let me have another look in this drawer. Maybe that needs to go on my bead shopping list. That I need some size 15s. Aha. So if any of my beading suppliers are listening, put that on my list of things. I need size 15 rose gold beads. Can't believe I can't find them, but they'll be here somewhere. All right, well, I'm just going to have to utilise a different colour. Maybe I might do a little bit of blue, actually. That's probably not a bad idea, given that I've got some blue technique, blue theme in here as well. Oh, there they are. Thank goodness. Found them. This is my favourite colour, rose gold. So it's the PF551. Use this all the time, hence why I was just scrambling around trying to find it. So I'll just pick up again, I've popped the size 8 on there already. Got a feature bead. Actually, I might before I do that, I'm going to put a stamen in the centre of this. Partly because that's got such a big hole in it, that piece of shrink plastic. I'd say when I made that particular one, I went a bit heavy with the heat gun, I think, is probably what happened with that one, because you can see how big that hole is in that centre. But, you know, we'll cover that over with a little stamen. So I've got some little rose gold ones here. And I can just, because these are really light, I can just sort of push my thumb and, into my finger there and just move that around and shape it, because what I want is for that to fit really well inside that moulded shape there. So I'll just grab my best beading tool of all, and I'm just going to push that into there just to sort of mould that stamen into the shape of the shrinket. Okay. So that sort of solves that big hole issue that I had. So again, I'll just bring that through like that. Now I can pick up, I've got some rose gold ones here, some size 11s. Can pick up one of those, a feature bead, and then a size 15 bead. So all of those are now on my needle, and then come through and skip over the 15. Same fringing technique that I've used before. So as I said, this is a super popular one for me. I use it a lot. Look how great that looks all together. And then because we've got these lovely great big holes on this mould, there's lots of places for me. So you notice I didn't use a locking bead this time. I don't really need to, because there's so many open spots on this particular metallic component that I don't need to have that same locking bead to hold it in place. So again, I've just picked up another feature bead with the size 11 and 15 either side, and I'll just pop that through onto the back here. Looks really nice, actually. I'm pretty happy with that. Amazing, as I said, these shrinkets, some of these beads I've made ages ago when I first started doing the shrinkets. My goodness, I was making beads left, right and centre. So I do have a fair selection of them in my drawer there. And it was really good just to be able to pull out all of this blue-themed ones today and use them with that metallic mould. So there, see, I've just popped a blue crystal in there too. So again, it's just bringing that different colour and dimension. I've got 3 different types of beads now in that centre. So there's one, okay? So now I'll think about what the next one is. And because I've got that lovely big open back there, I'll just bring my needle through to another spot on the piece. And then add another shrinket bead. So I've got this lovely flat piece here. So what I'll do, it actually starts to layer underneath. You start to build up, different dimension by layering. Maybe that one, because that's got that shape going that way. Okay, so I'll now bring my needle through the centre there, but I want that to sit underneath the original first one that I added there. So you can see that I've just pushed it so that it sits underneath. I'm not going to add a stamen on this one. I'm just going to add a bead, I think, for this. But what I might get is a bigger, like a 6mm rose gold. So I've got out the bigger box of pearls. Yep, there we go. So I've got these sort of bigger size 6mm ones here. I'll just pop, only just going to pop one, or maybe that's an 8, not a 6. Just pop one in the centre here, just like that. And then I could do a little bit, like I might pop one blue one on top of it, and then a 15. So its makeup will be slightly different to the other fringing, just to give it a bit of a different dimension. So again, I'll skip over the 15, go through the crystal and through the large bead, and then back through the hole on the Shrinkit, like that. You can see there, that's just that sort of stand-up bead there on that one. So it sits, you know, one underneath the other. Again, I can, and look, to be secure, I really should just go back through all of those beads again. Just so that, because it's just one bead in there, I'll just go through all of them again, just to add that little bit extra thread through that. So come back up through all the beads again, like that. Go through the size 15 and then go back down through all of those beads again. So now that's had a couple of thread passes through that bead. Okay, so there's 2 added. So again, I can just bring my needle, you know, through anywhere on that mould. So somewhere like that, and I can now add another piece. So I've got another piece of shrink plastic there that might fit like that. I've got this big blue flower one as well. Actually, I think I might do the blue flower one. And if I think that, you know, the shape of that, I might want to mould that, I'm actually going to do that. I can get my little mould here, my little flower press mold. This is the beauty of the shrink plastic. Even though this piece is well, you know, done, I don't know how long ago, you can actually go back and change its structure and mold it. Now, I'm not sure if that hole will go on the top of the spindle, probably not, so I might not use that. But I'm just going to shrink that and mold it so that it stands up a little bit. So again, bear with me while I use the heat gun. You'll start to see this little flower will start to melt again. Yep. So I've just heated that, and now you can see it's moldable. So I'm just molding that shape with these molds. These molds have all come from the Julie Haymaker Shrinkits shop. So you can see there I've just gone from flat to moulded, and that just gives a really good dimension to that piece now with that different shape. See how now I can start to push that one so it sits that way instead. Yeah, great moulds. You know, there's round, there's small, there's wavy, triangular, it's not triangular, like fluted. That one's the fluted one. There's a star shape. So there's lots of different moulds there at the Shrinkits shop. Yeah, I've used these pretty extensively the last couple of years. I love them. Now I'll pick up a different bead again this time. So this time I've got a fire polish in the 4mm, but it's the, I think it's called Capri. So it's got sort of coating on one side and then clear on the other side. So it gives a lovely sort of shine and dimension. Again, I'll just pick up the size 11, the feature, and then the 15 and go back through those. And because I've now pushed this one so that it sits on the sort of side diagonally, it looks really good instead of just being a straight flat piece. Again, I'll go through that hole there on the Shrinkit, back through the hole within my piece of work there. And I'm just going to re-go through that again just to secure that. I've just unthreaded my needle, but I will rethread that now. So how good does that look? A little bit of metallic and blue together on that shrink plastic. So let me know what you think and tell me in the comments what you think about this stuff. It's a great medium to play with. I really enjoy it. I enjoy teaching it. I enjoy just getting in here and being creative with the shrink plastic. You know, from a piece of A4 plastic, you just don't know what you're going to end up with. And my little granddaughter Ivy, she likes to come in here and play, Mummy or Nanny, can we make shrinkies? Can we make shrinkies for Mummy? So I do a fair bit of shrink plastic work in here with Ivy, and Ivy's 5. And this is one of her favourite places to be, is playing in Nanny's bead room. So I can't ask for much more than that, really, can I? Oh, I love having her play in here too. So shrinkies is a great craft if you wanted to do that with kids as well. And it doesn't end up having to look childish. It can look really, really good with what we're doing here. But yeah, shrinkies is great stuff to play with, particularly with the moulds and the different techniques in terms of textures and paints and stencils and all those sorts of things. So I'm just continuing on with that sort of repeated theme of 11 feature bead and 15, and making a little nice bunch of beads in the center of that flower there, like that. It's just caught over the... And you saw me remold a piece of shrink plastic that was well and truly flat. That was a piece that was from ages ago. And I'm just going to come up through here in another hole like that and add on another piece. So I've got this other texture here, which is another flatter piece, and I might layer that and push that underneath there like that. This piece is going to need 5. I don't think it works with, oh, maybe that one might go down there. 6 potentially. Yeah, probably does. But I probably want to swap that one and that one so that that fanned pattern is not next to one another potentially. Anyway, let's play with this next one here. So this is a honeycombed one that was a cream piece of shrink that I painted and then stenciled as well. So again, I'm just going to layer that so that it sort of starts to give different dimension under that mould. So somewhere like that, that one will probably sit. Just going to move my needle to come closer to where I'm going to place that piece. Up to here like that. And pop that in there. And, you know, I've still got a bit of flex here with these. I'll just move that so that it layers like that. Again, I think I'll put another, I might put one of these little flower beads on there. So I've got these little rosy gold flowers, and I've just popped one little blue crystal on the top of that one. So what that does is break up between the rose gold and the blue so that there's a contrast every time. So little flower bead on there, on that one. And you saw me layer and push that one so that it sits underneath the other shrinks that are there. And now I'm just going to secure that one and go through that again, just so that it doesn't move. So again, I've got great space, great yardage, or whatever you want to call it, great space at the back here because of the openness of that filigree to be able to find different places to add my thread to. Again, I'm just going to come up through those beads again, and they get tighter the second time that you start to go through them. And through the 15 that's there, and then back through those beads again. And that layering technique, I'll just snap my thread, but that's okay. I can add, look at that. How good does that look? Now, this is a really cool piece. You know, I could potentially back this onto a piece of leather now as well. Actually, I might do that. Let's see if I've got a piece of leather here. I mean, of course I have. It's Paula's bead room. There's lots of stuff in here. So I've got, look at this colour. So I could actually back that onto there. What do you think about that? So that's, and that I could do a bit of an edge there and you'd start to see. So something like that works really well. What do you think with that metallic? Or does it need a different colour leather? Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. That dark blue leather and the rose gold. I think that looks really stunning. Actually, I'm going to do something with that. So, I've got my little piece here. And what would be really nice is sorry, I'll just move my camera so you can see. If I cut this out at this, a little bit larger than what that piece is there, okay, then I could just do a couple of attachment beads either side here. This actually would be a really nice hair barrette, to be honest. Look at me going designing on the fly. But yeah, there's a couple of options that I can do with that. So first thing I'm doing is just going to get rid of that tail thread because that's annoying me, out of the way. And I'm going to grab another metallic frame there so that I can trace around it. So there's I'll get it, just grabbed another one. And I'm just going to trace around that on this leather so that I can see where to cut it. And I'll probably just go just a little bit outside. I'm not going to go in all of the divots that are there, or the scalloped edge, because that's way too hard to sort of start to bead around. But if I just sort of cut that shape, so you can see there, I've just traced around there. And I'll get my scissors and I'm just going to cut a piece of that leather now. So it's just slightly larger than the metallic component. And as I said, this would make a really nice hair barrette, potentially, a pendant piece. There's lots of ways this design could go. I don't know if I've got a hair clip thing here. I probably have somewhere. Okay, so I've just cut out that piece of leather. So it's just slightly larger than my little piece of filigree there. Look at that. And then I could put another piece of leather at the back and back it, which is what I'll do. So let's think about how I'm just going to attach that. Now I want to still see that filigree. I don't want to lose the impact of that, but I need to have a couple of beads sort of top and bottom just to attach it, I think. Yeah, I agree, Anita. The darker leather looks really nice. Now I don't need to glue this or anything because I'm going to stitch it. And I don't want to see glue here. So I'm just going to come through that top hole there, through the leather and through the filigree, and I'm just going to tie a knot in the back of my thread so that it stays where I have placed it. And you won't see this because I'll put a backing piece on this as well. So I'll just place my little piece of filigree on top. I've got a nice little edge so you can start to see some of that blue through the edge. And then I'm just going to pop one bead top and bottom. And I think maybe the same size 8mm that I used at the in the centre flower piece there. And I'll just pick up one size 15 bead and just pop that at the top there. So I've gone through that sort of biggish hole. And this should, I'll just push that through the leather. I probably should be using a leather needle and I'm not, but the shorter, they're called a glover's needle, the shorter leather needles, they're fantastic for going through this. Oh gosh, I've just overshot that. Let me do that again. Okay. Yeah, a glover's needle are really good for going through this sort of leather. A lot of my leather I get from a store on Etsy that I buy a lot of leather from. It comes from the States. Fantastic shipping and really fast delivery, and she has really good grab bags of different colour leather, and with this sort of work you don't need huge pieces, so the scrappy sort of, like that would have been a piece of scrap from there, that scrappy sort of leather is really good for this type of work. So if anybody would like to know where I buy that leather from, just let me know and I will pop the details of that in the comments after the session finishes. But yeah, the leather that I get from her, I get a couple of times a year, just different grab bags of different colour. So you can see there I've just popped one bead at the top there. And I'll pop another one at this end down here. And this metallic it's flexible. It's not necessarily too stiff, like, you know, it is a little bit bendable as well. Not that it'll bend out of shape, but it's just got a bit of flex to it. The other thing I can do here, and just to sort of add a bit of colour and interest, is come up through these whole, you know, the back through the leather. I think I am going to have to change needles to a glover's needle. I can't believe that, but that's okay. I've got one probably here somewhere. Because 10 short, do I need? Yeah, because the my needle is sort of bending a little bit with that leather, so I'll just swap to a smaller needle. I generally don't like using shorter needles. If you've done a class with me, you know I'm always surprised when people use short needles for beading. I much prefer the longer one, but the short needle is for going through this leather is probably a little bit easier just to push through. Yeah, that's gone straight through. So what I'll do now is I'll just pop, you know, a couple of little single beads every so often. So I've just picked up a little crystal and pop that there. And see, it just gives that little bit of dimension with a little crystal there. So all the way through this piece, I will just pop little crystals and that large pearl. And then I'm not going to finish this today because this will take me a little bit longer. Then I'm going to pop a piece of leather on the back and I'm going to edge this piece. So I'll finish that off this afternoon and I'll post that and show you when I've actually done that. But that's pretty much how I would utilise the shrink and the leather together with that little bit of metallic. So that's a bonus for today because I didn't think I was going to show you that one, but I have shown you that today and I hope you've enjoyed that. Just recapping some of the things that we did today. So I took a piece of screen printed or stenciled shrink plastic here. And then I created an earring with a little bit of rose gold, the black and the crystal in there as well. So I will finish that off this afternoon. I also took one of the shrink plastic teardrop pieces here like this. I did some freeform drawing on that and shrunk it, and then just added a little metallic component and a jump ring to make a really sweet little easy earring as well. And then the last piece I did was use some larger pre-done shrink pieces. I remolded one piece and I've done some layered shrinking on there as well. And I've attached that to a piece of leather that I'll now put another piece on and I'll back that piece. And it could actually be, as I said, a barrette, or it could be a pendant. There's lots of different options with that as well. So bear with me while I just flip the camera over again.